I started whispering during my lunch break because I realized my voice was too loud on a phone call. I was confused and frustrated because I hadn't asked to cancel anything. The woman from the insurance company on the phone stayed calm while I was upset. She said, "According to our records, we received a request from you to cancel your policy, and it's done." I had a savings-oriented life insurance policy. My sister-in-law Rachel, who is an insurance agent, convinced me to get this policy, which was more expensive than others. My name is Stella. I'm 40 years old and work in an office. I live in an apartment with my husband and daughter. Today has been really hard from the start. When my husband woke up, he said he was going on an overnight business trip and started packing his bags. At the same time, our daughter Amy was upset because she couldn't find her math textbook. Amy is in first grade, so she often needs help, but it's stressful when my husband starts complaining about his missing travel bag and new socks. I've been thinking about divorce for a while because our relationship has been struggling for the past year, and this situation just makes things worse. I said out loud, "Why don't you both prepare the day before?" Amy quickly apologized and promised to be more careful next time. I replied, "That's okay, honey, I should have helped you check yesterday. I'm sorry." But my husband reacted differently. He said, "If you took care of everything, Amy wouldn't be in this mess, and if you had bought me new socks, I wouldn't be complaining." I was angry about his small complaints. I had no idea he was going on a business trip. I said, "There are clean socks in the drawer, isn't that good enough?" He replied, "I like to wear brand new socks when I go on a trip." I thought his preference was strange, but I kept that to myself. He goes on these overnight trips every few months, and I figured his company scheduled it, but he didn't bother to tell me. If my husband needed new socks, he could have bought them himself or at least told me beforehand. Amy looked like she was about to cry and said, "Mom, Dad, please stop arguing." So, I turned to her and said, "I'm sorry, Amy, it's okay, let's find your textbook together." My husband went back to packing quietly while I helped Amy with her backpack. I sneaked a look at him and saw that he was packing casual clothes instead of his usual business outfit. I wondered, is he cheating again? Something felt wrong. He had cheated on me twice before. The first time was right before Amy was born. I thought about divorce then, but he begged me to forgive him, even getting our in-laws involved. My mother-in-law pleaded with me to stay with him, and my sister-in-law Rachel asked me not to leave her brother, so I decided not to go through with the divorce. But then, last year, he cheated on me again with a girl he met on a dating app. My husband tends to say whatever comes to his mind, and he's not good at hiding things. He thinks he's being sneaky, but I always find out. In a flash, he was caught again, crying and begging for forgiveness, even though he usually acts so confident. Seeing him cry, with his nose running, was just sad. I told him, if there's another issue, we're done. I made him fill out divorce papers, moved all our savings into my account, and even though I forgave him, I no longer loved him. He always puts himself first, and I can't forgive him for not caring for our daughter, Amy, or spending time with her, but I plan to wait until Amy is a bit older before getting a divorce. In the end, we found Amy's math textbook easily in her backpack. Amy left for school happy, but I felt completely drained from the morning. I didn't have time to make my packed lunch, so I went to a deli near my office. While I was there, a poster from an insurance company caught my eye, and I suddenly remembered that my policy was one where I would receive a cashback after some time. I thought it should be deposited soon. I'm paying a lot for my insurance every month. Without little joys, I wouldn't be able to keep going. I started to feel excited thinking about what I could do with the cashback when it finally arrives. Maybe I could buy Amy some new fall clothes. With a spring in my step, I stopped by the bank to update my passbook. To my surprise, not only was there no celebration money, but this month's insurance premium hadn't been deducted yet. I thought, isn't the premium supposed to be deducted the same month I get the bonus? At first, I was confused, but remembering my husband's strange behavior this morning made me uneasy, so I decided to call the insurance company. Unfortunately, my sister-in-law Rachel was off for the day, and another woman answered the phone. She told me that my policy had been cancelled and the cancellation fee was already paid, but I hadn't seen any money deposited in my account. The woman kept insisting that all the paperwork was in order and that the insurance company had done everything correctly. I thought, what if my policy was cancelled without my consent? It felt like she was suggesting the insurance company wasn't at fault. I made it clear that I had no intention of canceling my policy. I told her I would check with Rachel and my husband, but she'd better confirm with Rachel too. Then I hung up. Before I knew it, My lunch break was almost over. I didn't even have time to eat the lunch I had bought from the deli, but I had lost my appetite anyway. I asked my boss if I could leave early, then I finished my work quickly. I left the office earlier than usual and immediately called my husband's cell phone. If he was really busy at work and couldn't answer, then that was just how it would be. "Stella, why are you calling me? I'm at work," he said after a few rings. He sounded annoyed, but I could hear cheerful music in the background. I thought, does he really think he won't get caught? This is ridiculous. "Sorry about that, but my life insurance was cancelled without my consent, and there's no cash value. Do you know anything about this? I think I might have been scammed, and I'm considering going to the police." "The police? What the hell are you thinking?" It was me. I suspected that my husband and Rachel were behind the cancellation, so I exaggerated my claims. My husband sounded shocked and immediately confessed. I felt relieved at first, but my anger quickly grew. "Oh really? It was you? Where's the cash value?" I demanded. "I used it to support my mom," he said. I was confused. Did something happen to my mother-in-law? Does she need money? "No, she just said she wanted to take a family trip to a holiday resort," he replied. I was surprised by his response. "You canceled my life insurance without my consent for a trip? You used my money for travel expenses? The business trip was a lie?" "Yeah, I'm the beneficiary, so I don't see a problem. We're staying in a luxury hotel. I'm in the lobby right now, and there's an amazing chandelier," he bragged, sounding excited. "What the heck? I have a lot of complaints. Why did you cancel without my consent? I'm the one paying the premium. You should be able to afford your own travel expenses." "Oh, shut up. If something happens to you, I'm the one who gets the money. It's my money. You're healthy and not going to die anytime soon. You can just take out another policy." I couldn't understand his arguments at all. The conditions change as you get older, and insurance premiums go up. Do you really not understand that? "Well, I'm not the one paying," he replied. I felt a headache coming on from his irresponsible words. "Do your parents and Rachel know you canceled my life insurance without my consent? Didn't my father-in-law say anything? Rachel is obviously an accomplice. Did you forge my signature?" "Yeah, my mom and dad were happy about it and said it was a good idea. After all, you're the one holding all our money, so it's your fault. I want to take a break and have some fun once in a while. It's okay, right? We came on a family trip, and everyone's happy." "Your family includes your parents and Rachel, right? Why aren't Amy and I included? Isn't your family Amy and me? Insurance is for emergencies, and I'd rather not use it. Shouldn't you consult me first if you want to support travel expenses?" "Because you would definitely say no. You and Amy are always together, so it's fine to be with family for a change. Plus, Rachel said she wanted to take out a new life insurance policy for you, so I thought it was killing two birds with one stone." "That's just for you guys. Unbelievable. You won't admit something because it seems bad. What an excuse. Aren't you embarrassed to act like grade schoolers? You're making me not want to talk by getting so angry. What a pain. If you keep this up, I wouldn't mind getting a divorce." I bet you couldn't pull it off. Maybe being in a tourist spot made him more confident. My husband sounded bolder than usual. "I understand," I said, and hung up the phone. "Brace yourself. I'll get back at my in-laws and my husband for all this," I murmured to myself. My patience was running out. My husband had been underestimating me because I always forgave him, even though he kept threatening divorce. I had thought my in-laws were normal people and that Rachel wasn't bad, despite pushing for a high life insurance policy. But normal, sensible people wouldn't cancel their daughter-in-law's life insurance without asking and misuse the money. This is what I get for marrying into this family. I'll cut them all off, I thought as I immediately headed to the court. I always kept the divorce papers my husband had filled out in my bag, like a good luck charm. I submitted the papers right away and then picked up my daughter, Amy, from her after-school program. On our way home, I told her about the divorce. Amy was surprised, but after I explained it carefully, she accepted it. When we got home, she asked, "So Dad isn't coming back home anymore?" I replied, "Your dad won't be back tonight because he's on a business trip. We're getting divorced, so we'll be living separately, but we still need to prepare for that." Then Amy said, "Let's start packing right away, hurry." I was confused. Huh? What's going on? "Well, you're breaking up with Dad, right? You don't have to cry anymore. I don't like him because he's always mad." "Wait, Amy, did you try to stop us from fighting because you didn't want me to be sad?" I had planned not to divorce for Amy's sake, but it seemed she had been dealing with everything on her own. She said, "Dad never plays with me. even on his days off. He tells me to go away whenever I talk to him. He only uses me to say mean things to you. Like this morning. I've always been sad because I love you, Mom. Amy smiled slightly, and her smile pierced my heart. My husband, who was selfish and always put himself first, had been seen through by both me and Amy. It broke my heart to hear Amy's true feelings, and I felt like crying. I see. I'm sorry, Amy. I've made you go through a lot. From now on, it'll be just the two of us, but I'll take good care of you. I really love you. Yay. I vowed never to let Amy be sad again. While she did her homework, I kept myself busy by reaching out to a lawyer and searching for realtors and movers online. Then I contacted my parents. When I explained the situation, they told me to come back home right away. Amy doesn't have to transfer schools. If it's tomorrow morning, I can borrow a truck from an acquaintance to help us move our things, my father said. I contacted the landlord and the elementary school to explain that we'd be commuting from my parents' house. I decided to deal with the school paperwork gradually and called work to take a vacation day tomorrow. I wanted to get most things done before my husband got home. The next day, my parents came over, and we quickly moved our stuff to their house. Everything was done before my husband got home, and only his belongings were left in the apartment. I left a note that said we were divorced and that we were now strangers. Then I left the apartment. When my husband came home and realized we were gone, he would undoubtedly be stunned. Serves him right. The thought of it made me feel triumphant. I was able to prepare for the divorce so smoothly this time because I had researched the necessary steps after he cheated on me before. I had warned him then that next time there would be no discussion. We would divorce, and we had agreed I would keep custody and all our shared assets. In this way, my daughter and I started our new life at my parents' house. A few days later, I received a frantic call from my mother-in-law. My husband's phone was blocked, so I assumed she was calling on his behalf. He is a weak man who cries easily despite his arrogance, so he might be crying pitifully, I thought. What are you thinking? You're divorcing him even though my son didn't cheat, she yelled loudly, making my ears ring. I instinctively moved my phone away from my ear. Hey, Stella, it's not too late. Apologize to my son right now. He's been crying because he's hurt. Aren't you embarrassed making such a fuss over this? Huh? Apologize? Why? I couldn't comprehend her words and blurted out. Who are you? She probably didn't expect such a response from me, and she stopped speaking abruptly. I was surprised by my own words that just slipped out. Hey, it's me, your mother-in-law. Come on, Stella, what's gotten into you? You can't possibly be going senile. You're still young. No, I only have one mother. If you don't identify yourself, could this be a scam call? I decided to go along with my slip of the tongue. After all, we were strangers now that we were divorced, and there was no point in having a serious conversation with people who canceled my life insurance policy without my consent. Don't be ridiculous, Stella. If you're going to take that attitude, I have a few things to say too. As expected, my mother-in-law was furious, but I didn't care. What are you talking about? Do you think you can do something? I had an agreement with him that if there was any issue, we would divorce immediately. He told me on the phone that we were getting divorced. Her words left her speechless. I took the opportunity to press on. If he wanted to go on a trip, he should have just talked to me about it. Why did he have to commit a crime? Is your whole family looking to end up in jail or something? Canceling life insurance without consent qualifies as forgery. You know that could lead to imprisonment for 3 months to 5 years. I'm ready to fight this thoroughly. I don't want to hear about how your family has no savings or is poorer. My husband might have done this nonchalantly, but that's precisely why I can't forgive him. Hold on a minute. We can't have criminals in this family. Hey, sorry, listen to me, please. Surprised by the mention of imprisonment, my mother-in-law, who had been on a roll just a moment ago, suddenly became submissive, but it was too late. I hung up and blocked all calls from my husband's family. After that, my husband was so shocked by the divorce that he voluntarily left his job and became a shut-in. As for the life insurance issue, we used a system known as financial ADR, which resolves insurance-related disputes outside of court, and we successfully settled the matter. Rachel, my sister-in-law, was disciplined and fired from her insurance company, and it even made minor headlines because of it. My in-laws became the talk of the town and were shamed by relatives, being told things like "you have no common sense," and "have some shame." It seems they were quite uncomfortable. Both my husband and Rachel became unable to work and were in a financial crunch. Meanwhile, I was living freely with my daughter, Amy, back at my parents' house. I wanted to make up for the hardships I had put Amy through by showering her with plenty of love.